Hi there, I'm Mabel Jong. Thanks for watching. This is continuing coverage of the World Healthcare Congress in Washington, D.C. Day 2, and in the studio right now we have Bill Shea, who is Vice President, Cognizant Technology Solutions. How are you doing, Bill?
Very good. How about yourself?
Good, thanks for stopping in.
Good, glad to be here.
Well, tell me more about Cognizant.
Okay. Well, for folks who don't know much about Cognizant, what they tend to know is the growth trajectory. So it's been a very rapidly growing IT services company since our inception in 1994. We've always been healthcare focused, going all the way back to day one when our first customers were IMS Health and Arisco. But since then we've expanded beyond just healthcare payers into providers, PBM, and government.
Okay, and so what's the information that you help them gather? What's the data like that you are putting together and organizing for them?
Yeah, so we actually, it's a wide spectrum of services. So I think one of the unique value propositions that Cognizant has is we can take our customers end to end from that strategy and planning phase through building and implementing to actually running and operating your business. Okay. So historically we've been IT services focused, so application development, application maintenance, installing core platforms like Facets, so implementation services. But increasingly we've expanded beyond that. So it's, when we talk about our business, we often use these terms Horizon 1, Horizon 2, Horizon 3. Horizon 1 refers to that set of very tactical IT-focused capabilities that we grew up around, that I just mentioned, application maintenance, application development, et cetera. Horizon 2 refers to a more strategic set of offerings, so that includes management consulting, strategy, operations, process, and technology consulting in those industries where we go deep, like healthcare. Horizon 2 includes other things like infrastructure outsourcing and data center hosting. And then Horizon 3 is where Cognizant begins to look more like a product, asset, end-to-end solutions provider. So in Horizon 3, we can carve out whole portions of the value chain in those industries that we serve and deliver capabilities back as a service in a cloud on demand. So.
Okay, now since Cognizant has been around for quite a long time, you bring a lot of perspective to what's going on in the space right now. So what are your impressions of the different changes that we're seeing? Because we've been through different evolutions in the time you've been in business.
Absolutely, and the changes right now, particularly in our sector, are dramatic.
In a good way?
I think they're in a good way, yeah. I mean, I think that there's a convergence of market and regulatory forces and technology capabilities that are radically transforming healthcare capabilities, right? Some of them are potentially disruptive, but I think all in all that it'll be good for all stakeholders. Some of the primary forces that we see at play obviously include consumerism. So for a lot of my health plan customers, they're thinking through all the challenges that they need to invest in order to re-architect the enterprise for a direct-to-consumer business model, whether that's public exchanges, private exchanges, or consumer experience optimization, things like that. So that's certainly significant. We're also seeing a lot of strategic investment around value-based care models. Right? So you mentioned ACOs, that this movement towards paying for value in a way for paying for volume is pervasive, and it requires a whole new set of capabilities, people, process, and technology capabilities. And so we've been expanding our services fairly rapidly into the health system and provider segment around helping them work through the challenges of value-based care.
What is the most frequent kind of call you'll get now from your customers that they need assistance with?
Right. There's a variety of them, right? So I think some of the most frequent are related to consumerism and value-based care. I think as a result of those two forces, we're seeing some new business models emerging, right? So there's certainly, for my industry, I'm seeing a increasing trend towards new entrants into the health plan space. A lot of those new entrants are health systems and provider organizations that are making the leap to becoming provider-owned health plans. And they're trying to rapidly kick off multiple lines of business, so Medicare Advantage, Medicaid, HIX lines of business. And so they're turning to organizations like Cognizant and saying, can you give me an end-to-end Medicare Advantage in-a-box solution? Or as often people are looking for a la carte services, but certainly meaningful portion of my pipeline is around that sort of demand, right? So new entrants into the health plan space. We're also seeing a lot of demand around digital transformation, right? So health plans are trying to reinvent themselves as the paradigm shifts to a direct-to-consumer purchasing model. Whoever nails that direct-to-consumer experience in the next generation health plan certainly stands to gain a lot of market share. Right?
Do you think that's a difficult thing to do?
I do. I think that people, it's easy to understand the opportunity,
yes,
right? And it's also easy to get lost in sort of the future, capabilities and what the sort of art of the possible. Most of my customers are, they understand that, but then they want to pull back and take a more pragmatic approach, saying, what can I do now?
Well, we know a lot about the consumer. I mean, there's certainly a lot of companies that specialize in that information.
Yeah.
Finding out who this guy is and what he likes and how to address what he likes. So why is it so hard?
Right. I think, first of all, it's not, historically it hasn't been core to the health plan business model, right? The customer for them wasn't the consumer, it was the large group purchaser of insurance products. So this sort of reorienting yourself to a consumer-centric approach is a big change management challenge, as well as a big process change. A lot of the workflow processes and technology inside of U.S. health plans today are very are employer group focused. So, and you're right, there is a lot of information out there about the consumer, but how do you integrate that then into traditional health plan administrative data sets to get business value is the challenge.
Well, we just had a gentleman compare what we're going through in healthcare to what we did with banking. Yeah. We wouldn't have thought of going to a bank. We don't think of going to a bank now, but we certainly did always do that before. Yeah. Now we do everything online. So he thinks it's just a natural transition for healthcare to do the same as we do with banking. Would you agree?
I would. In fact, that actually was just what I was speaking about in our luncheon session. But yes, I think that we're going to see digital disruption, digital disintermediation has radically changed supply chains in other industries, right? Healthcare was late to digitize, but we're now at a point where I think we could see the same kinds of innovation and disruption that we saw in financial services. And it'll change our supply chain as well, right? You're beginning to think about internet care, virtual care, anytime, anywhere. How can I leverage big data and analytics to begin to change behaviors and so forth. So I think that if you think about Healthcare 2020 or something like that, we could see a very radically transformed landscape.
Okay. Well, it's so great to talk with you, Bill, and to learn more about Cognizant.
Well, thank you very much.
Thanks for stopping by.
Great to be here.
And I'm Mabel Jong. Thanks for watching.